Well, hello, sweet friends. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today, I have a couple of days in my life for you. And at the very end of this video, I will be discussing some questions I've been getting recently from my new subscribers. And if you're one of my new subscribers, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this little corner of my world with me. And if you're returning, I want to thank you all so much for all of your support. On this particular day, I was having a very chill afternoon, hanging around and watching some of my favorite shows as well as coloring. If you are just joining me, I have decided to take up coloring this fall as well as reading. I have been a little busier than I anticipated, so I haven't been reading as much as I like, but it is starting to slow down. So hopefully I could get into my books hardcore. And I really want to buy a Christmas one for the Christmas season. So if you all have any recommendations for a good Christmas book, let me know. So yeah, I'm excited to be getting in the Christmas season and decorating for that. If you follow me on Instagram, I did a poll of how many people are listening to Christmas music at the moment, anticipating Christmas, and a big selection of you are already listening to Christmas music, and some of you said you started listening in September. So I definitely have found my people. Usually in October, I start listening to Christmas music secretly, but it's not such a secret anymore because I put it out there because I just wanted to know, am I the only one? But even though I am looking forward to Christmas, I am still loving the fall and Halloween. I have decided that because I am going to get a real Christmas tree this year, I'm pretty sure I am going to bring my pumpkins back. So get rid of my Halloween stuff and bring a little fall pumpkins back into the mix, kind of basically how it looked before I decorated for Halloween. And then closer to Thanksgiving, when they start selling the Christmas trees, I will then decorate. I still have my huge Balsam Hill Christmas tree, if you have all been with me since my old house, but it is just way too big for this house. I think it would look really ridiculous. I haven't tried it, but I'm pretty sure it would just look ridiculous in here. So my sister puts it in her house. I just really don't want to have to buy another fake Christmas tree. And I feel like a real Christmas tree in here going with my vintage Christmas theme is going to look really, really cute in here. But anyway, I am going to make a little dinner now that all of that little afternoon chores are over. I do like to eat fairly early, like around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I like to eat before 6 o'clock nonetheless. So I have plenty of time to digest. This night, I decided I wanted to have a little hamburger. So I just made myself a little hamburger patty. And I love making this secret sauce. It's just barbecue sauce, mustard, and mayonnaise. And yeah, I do my burgers bunless because I am trying to be good. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, you do know that my walking pad died. I am so bummed, so bummed. So if any of you have any walking pads you like to use and you have a recommendation, please let me know in the comments. barked out of not wanting to play, which is extremely unusual. I think I heard him bark maybe 2 times in his life. That was for something other than wanting to play. And he had this in his mouth. This came up from the pond. Like, what? Did he bring this up here, or did it just make its long journey up here? Look at this thing. What in the heck? Hi, buddy. I'm gonna get you back to the pond, don't worry. Not very happy, but I'm saving it. Oh, crawdad. All right, he's gone. I threw him in. I hope that was okay, but I didn't want the boys to get him again. Pumpkins are holding up good. Look at the barn, so nice and clean. And the girls are out for the time being because we're supposed to get a really bad winter storm. They keep pushing it back, but here's what the beautiful sky looks like right now. Tank, of course, barking at me, wanting to play. And the girls are out in their pasture, grazing around until it's time for them to come in because of the storm. And I had a comment on my last video that I want to address. If anybody is interested in knowing how most of the days look with the girls, I'll leave it linked in the description. But let me educate you a little bit on the horses and why we put them in either this pasture or out in these pastures, or if they're in their stalls, because not all horses are created equal and not everything is as black and white as you think it is. All right, my friends, so let's address the horse situation. I'm getting some questions about why they are in these small round pens versus the bigger pastures. So the reason that they are in the small round pens versus the big pastures is strictly because our one horse, Ginger, has dietary restrictions and they cannot be out in the big pasture for long periods of time because she'll get really sick. I've told you about this in previous videos. I even made a specific video about our horses. I don't show everything on film, but mostly when you see me out filming when I play with the dogs and you see them, it's usually in the afternoon because that's when I walk down there to throw the ball for the dogs and go to the pond and take a break from talking on the phone from work all the time. It's just I need to decompress all of that. So the girls are in their pastures. They have their lunch out there. Now, depending on the time of year, if it's cold, like right now it's raining, so they're in their stalls because we cannot have them get wet. If it's a really hot day, we also bring them inside. They have fans at their stall that make a nice breeze for them. Also, Ginger, the one that has dietary restrictions, she also is super sensitive to the sun. So she gets burnt really bad if she's out in the sun. If it's over 80 degrees, we like to bring them in because she gets too burnt. There is also like factors like Sadie, she got her hooves got trimmed too short in her one hoof, so she was a little lame on that leg, so she can't just go run around. And to be quite honest with you, the horses, once they're out in the pasture, they don't even run around. They stand in one spot and they eat. So it's not like they're wild horses running around the pastures all of the time. They literally stay in one spot and eat. We don't put the girls out in the pastures together because they like to bite and kick each other. They are girls that way, especially when they're PMSing. They get really sassy and they take it out on each other. Yep, they're married up, they're coupled up, which is a terrible, terrible thing in the horse industry. If you know, you know. But they did it on their own, and yeah, they want to be together. If Ginger is away from Sadie, Sadie has such bad anxiety, she starts shaking and sweating. It is the darndest thing. I've never seen a horse with such bad anxiety. And I honestly don't even know if they have anything for that for horses. Horses are just a different creature of their own. But at any rate, if it's a beautiful, beautiful day, we put them in the pastures in the afternoon time, and then they have their dinner out there, and then they come in the stalls. But horses are big babies, so they like smaller areas. They're scared of everything. Everything to them is the boogeyman. Leaves on the ground, things falling, leaves falling from the sky. Anything that looks out of place and they're not used to it, it's scary to them. And their safety is their stalls and smaller like round pens and things like that. They really like that. It makes them feel very comfortable. So there are methods to why we have the girls out in the small round pens versus the big pastures, and if they're in their stall versus when they're outside. We are constantly rotating them. We are constantly out there with them. They are not neglected. They are not abused. They are not anything but pasture princesses living their best life. They get breakfast, lunch, dinner, num-num, snack. They get treats. They get everything. They are so spoiled. People who are in the horse industry, like my aunt, she is very, very high up in the horse industry with a certain group, and she thinks that we're utterly ridiculous. She thinks the horses are spoiled and they're fat, and yeah, so just know that they're greatly taken care of. I also, if you're new here, I will address the fly mask that they wear. It's to protect their eyes and their skin from the flies biting them, as well as the blankets that they wear. They have a fly blanket. They have a purple blanket, which is their jammies when it's just a little cold, but not too cold. And then they have their big winter jammies. When it's cold, they wear those. We want to make sure to protect them as much as we can. The flies were really bad over the summertime. We also do fly spray. If the flies are too bad and you don't protect your horses, they could get something called pigeon fever, and pigeon fever is really, really bad. I'm not going to gross you out with explaining it. If you don't know, Google it. But in some circumstances, if an older horse gets it, you have to put them down. So we try to keep them from getting that. I also want to say that at the end of an evening time, if we don't feed the horses out in the big pasture, our Ginger will get crazy and run around really bad. And we've had a horse actually hurt themselves out there, and when a horse hurts themselves a certain way, there's no going back from it. You have to put them down. So we are also trying to protect them. We know what they like. We know their personalities. We know certain times of the day they cannot be out there and all of that good stuff. So it's just the way horse world is. You'll see some that are in little pastures all the time. There's trainers that keep them in the stalls all the time unless they're being ridden, because they have to be disciplined. And I'm not talking about I'm gonna beat you disciplined, and I'm talking about like if you were to be disciplined with your eating and your gym time and your rest time and all of that stuff. So just know that we're not being mean keeping them in those small round pens versus the big pasture. There are horses. Every horse is different. We know what they need and what they like, and those small round pens are something that they really enjoy. So if you have any other questions or concerns, the best way to get in touch with me is via my Instagram at Ann's Country Cottage. I can answer any of your questions you have there. And take a look at that one video that I have up about taking care a day out on the ranch. I'll leave it linked in the description, like I said. But it gives you some sort of idea of what it's like. In that video, I give the horses a bath, and then I take them in the stall so they dry, because after they have a bath, they like to roll around and we don't want them to get really dirty. What I didn't show in that video is once they were dry, we put their jammies on, then they went out in the pasture, and guess what? They rolled, but they were dry. So the stuff didn't stick to them. They're just little butts, the cutest little things ever. All right, so I hope that answers your questions. If you were even curious about it, if you were the ones who sent me the message, I hope this helps. All right, I'm going to leave you here with the cutest little cuddle video of me and Buster. I hope you enjoyed today's video and learned something that you didn't know about our horses. I hope everybody has a great day, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.